Okay, first off I want to say that if you are already an advanced Magic player and know how to deck build fairly well, you might as well not watch this video. It's a waste of your time. For those players that are new and getting into it, this is just a little bit of tips on deck building. Because the only reason I'm even putting this up here is because I noticed there isn't as much on deck building. It's more based on just how to play the game and, you know, who has what kind of cards or cool decks that work. But they don't really explain why they work. You know, why does a tooth and nail deck work so good? Why do these decks work the way they do? Well, it's because they focus not necessarily on the cards themselves, but on the rules of the game and the potential the cards have. First type of card you'll run into are cards that make you sacrifice something, take away your life, and do various other things. This is Raise. It costs 1 red. There's the name. There's the picture. Crappy. This is really advanced technology that I have, by the way. Okay. At the time you play Raise, sacrifice a land. Destroy target land. Now, at first glance, as a new Magic player or someone that used to be, you know, someone that is just getting into it, they would look at this and say, I don't want to sacrifice a land. I don't care how much it costs. I'm not going to sacrifice land to destroy target land. But the potential is you're destroying a land potentially on the first turn. It keeps their aggro down. You sacrifice a land, but you know you can recover if you put this in the right kind of deck. Just put the right kind of bounce back into it. Because this is your deck. This isn't this land's deck. This isn't put this in just a regular burn deck and lose your land as you're playing. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at the potential. You'll run into cards that seem bad, but they compensate with their abilities, which is why they cost the amount of mana they do. If you're going to play this right away, it costs 5. This is Plunder. It's destroy target artifact or land, but its secondary ability is Suspend for 4 turns for 2 mana. So this card is kind of bad, because even if you get it into your opening hand, you can't use it till turn 4. The reason why it's good is because the Suspend is for 2, so if you do have it on your second turn, you can play this and suspend it for 4, and then on the 4th turn you'll be playing other spells. You can play this for free, so it works out that way. But those kind of cards you kind of have to weigh. It's like, is it really that great that I have a suspend card? You know, what does the mana cost? You know, what are the chances that I'm going to put this in? Should I put 4 of these in, 3 of these in, 2 of these in? Things like that. One of the easiest types of decks to build is aggro. Okay, this is Frost Wielder. The picture looks great, but it's a bad card. This is why. Frost Wielder costs 4 to play. Its ability is Frost Wielder deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Okay, so the mana cost is 4, the ability's not that great, and the power and toughness isn't that great. Plus, the main reason why it's bad is because there's other cards a lot like it. There's other cards that tap it, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Tap it, deal 1 damage to target creature, blah, so on and so on. Now, the only thing that separates this from the other cards is you can remove it from the game instead of putting it in the graveyard. But unless you're facing really specific types of decks, that doesn't matter. But most of the time, the ones that do this cost 2, not 4. 2 mana and 4 mana make a big difference. You'll run into cards that have hidden, or that can work for you in a combo deck instead of just by themselves. Okay? This is Ghostly Prison. It costs 3 mana. Creatures can attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature attacking you. This cost is paid as attackers are declared. Now, you can look at this card and think either A, just read it, creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature attacking you, or you can look at the potential, B. If this was put in a lockdown deck where you're trying to lock your opponent down, if you're playing this in a white-blue control, my fiance just got in the room. If you're playing this in a white-blue control and you play something like a Mana Leak, which is a counter spell, counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. But you have this enchantment out, they're paying 5 mana for useless things that they normally can do for free. So that's what makes that card good. There's the ability it has, and then there's the potential it has. Mindless Automaton is pretty much useless. It's a 0/0. It comes into play with 2+1/+1 counters on it. It costs 4, and its ability is it comes into play with 2+1/+1 counters on it. Tap a colorless, discard a card. Put a +1/+1 counter on Mindless Automaton. Remove 2 +1/+1 counters from Mindless Automaton. Draw a card. So, this has some potential, but there's a very specific deck you have to put this in order to make this card work. When you can find a card that looks useless like this one, and put it into a good deck, or put it into a deck that makes it really good, then you can call yourself no longer a noob.